Hello, everyone. As a part of actually bringing transparency and solid knowledge to search marketing industry, I have a special guest here who actually has been active in the French SEO market and is well known for a topical mesh concept, which takes into account the semantics and leveraging intralinking in a revolutionary way. He has been actually active on the French market, not so much of the English market, and that's the reason there is a lot of great folks in different countries that are really not seen or heard in the American market, but we're trying to fix that. Understanding the search algorithms is a crucial part of an SEO strategy. So in this call, we will be covering the most important ranking factors, and we will be sharing our thoughts and resources publicly without hesitations or fear or anything whatsoever that a lot of other SEOs may have. So we're going to talk about the true ranking factor, what really works, not assumption, not guesses, and all of these factors that we will be discussing are backed up by the Google leak, the recent Google leak, and also solid things which are actually based on experiences. So what actually works will deliver the most amount of results. Results do equal to traffic growth and revenue growth. So those SEOs that they tend to overfocus on, let's say, small aspects of SEO, and they tend to sell some sort of unuseful technical audit, it's for them. It's a new way of actually leveraging the SEO is actually to figure out what really can trigger a ROI growth. A traffic growth, not the really cool assumption about search, which is looks good, but in reality it doesn't really impact the revenue of a company. You will hear honest. This is the most honest podcast or video that has been recorded about Google's ranking factor, all of them, at least the most significant ones. So here we are. Laurent, nice to meet you, brother.
Nice to see you. Let's rock the SERPs. Let's understand this goddamn search engine.
Oh, you have a black hat, so I think you've been doing a lot of search engine hacking, so you know a lot of stuff.
Well, let's put it this way. I started my career in June 2004. I entered by mistake a SEO contest. It was the second one in the world. And it was in France. After 3 months, I got it. Okay, working 24/7 for not a genius. Do anything, 20 hours a day for 3 months, and you should get a fair understanding of how it works. So yeah, what drove me was more the hacking part. Making money with Black Hat SEO, yeah, sure. But what really was I was really like a nerd, and to get into the systems and to have this mindset of me against the machine, no, you're a robot, Google. You're not gonna. I'm a human. I win. Yeah, it's been a great journey for over 20 years, and still having fun now. Other algorithms have fun, other search engines, social media, and all that. But yeah, Google was a fascinating learning experience. And after a few decades, you sometimes get frustrated about what's around in the SEO world, and the propaganda, the lies, the myth. As a lockdown, the only main thing I've done in English was a project during lockdown with my friends who were like, okay, let's bust some SEO myth, and there was SEO conspiracy. But yeah, sure. I don't want to start. I understand why people want to believe in certain things, and there's a big difference between a search engine from an SEO perspective and a search engine from an engineer perspective. I was lucky to get involved with actually one big search engine in France called Quant. My best friend founded it, so I know a few things about how a search engine is built, and also throughout my career, a few PhDs on speed dials, a few Googlers, few people from other search engines, and yeah, the problem is simple. To go from your house to the studio in a car, you don't need to know how the engine works. But if you are, I'm more like a Lewis Hamilton fan, okay? Red Bull is not a car manufacturer. I'm pretty sure Lewis Hamilton knows how the engine works, how the torque, how the suspension, the tire. I mean, he can speak with engineers. He knows the car inside and out, and that's the big difference. Search engine hackers are nerds who want to dig in and understand how does a search engine works. But I don't blame SEOs for not getting into it, because it's it's a big rabbit hole. But all the information is out there. You can build your own Google. I can even give you the price today. 1 million, just the tech. Then you need like 1 billion for the data centers. But it's all on GitHub. If you want to, if you want to build a search engine, it's not a mystery. We do know how Google works. What we don't have is the cursors. That's the big issue. Okay, we'll get into it. How much is PageRank used compared to what you call NavBoost, or what is also known as the click model from the algorithmic point of view? So yeah, that's basically it. You remember the Yandex leak?
Yep.
We had the foundation, we had the cursors, we know the weights, we knew how much this and this counted more than. So that's the only real mystery here.
You know, I think to summarize it, I mean, you may actually agree with this. The top ranking factors are links, click data, and semantics. Can you think of any other top ranking factors that may contribute to growth?
Title tag?
Title tag, exactly. So this actually fall into semantics as well. I mean, in the earlier days of search engines, so let's start with our first ranking factor, which was almost all search engines use that, was keyword matching and phrase matching on the page. Google, I believe, used a system, a model, which was called an inverted index. Other search engines, I believe they used keyword density or TF-IDF or a similar mechanism. So in the earlier days of search engines, one of the reasons that other search engines didn't succeed in the market was the quality of their search engine, which was heavily influenced by keyword stuffing. A lot of spammy sites, I wasn't around in the SEO at the time, but from the people who I spoke to, talked about, okay, you need to put their keyword 400 times on this page, put the keyword in the title tag this amount of times, and then you're going to rank number one. So keyword matching, Google still does use, some amount of keyword matching, especially in the beginning of the content. Let's say the earlier in the content, the keyword it has more weight, and also if the keyword is bolded or the font size is slightly larger, it probably does have a lot more weight in Google's algorithms. And so the number one ranking factor is essentially from the good old days, which is not the biggest ranking factor, which I believe is one of the smallest ones, is having the phrase that you want to rank for, or semantics of that, variations of that, topics related to that phrase, somewhere in the content. But how do you actually optimize for it without actually, going on a spam path that SEO algorithms have gone?
I have a game. But before I give you, it's a very simple game, the game of the mystery word that will help people use all those algorithms. But let's track back. You mentioned very interesting algorithms, but here is the story. Amit Singhal is the one who built Google. Larry Page and Sergey Brin, yeah, they built like a prototype. But Amit Singhal was really the man. He's the one who rewrote PageRank. He's the one who anti-spam. I mean, yeah. And Amit Singhal was a analyst and a linguist. And his teacher, here's what's very interesting. Who was the teacher? Who was the mentor of Amit Singhal? A guy came called Salton, Professor Salton. And the Salton's cosine is the key. What is the Salton cosine? Well, a search engine doesn't understand what it reads. Words are mathematical entities and they are separated by vectors, a distance. So, for example, if in a document you have the word I don't know, Google and search, okay? If search and Google, again, they are not words, they become bunch of characters, random characters, okay? Mathematical entities. Are they separated? How far are they apart? Okay? So, of course, it's obvious. The closer they are together, maybe it means that they get along. They have. So, if X number of documents have Google and search close to each other, well, maybe they have something to do with each other. If they are far away, separated, well, maybe they have a lot less to do with each other. So when you understand that, always, if you want to be a search engine, you have to study the people and who are the mentors, who taught them. It's very often the key. Same with Pragbakar Raghavan, the actual boss of Google. Google Ads, Google Search, Google Maps, Google Assistant. He's the man. Who was his mentor? A guy called, I think his name was Kopf. What was it? Kopf? Forgot. Computer scientist. And his baseline is elegance in simplicity, in code, integration, and all that. So, but yeah, what's happening here is you don't understand what you read. How do you figure, how do you analyze a document, text, if you're not human? And that's why links were so important at the beginning and maybe a lot less now, because they had to improve how they understand text. But at the beginning, it was just a matter of okay, those entities close to one another, or they're far away? And do you have a lot of documents who have those entities close to each other? But now, with time, they started. You mentioned TF-IDF. Very interesting, this one. The relevant words, which are rare, and the relevant words, which are common for any topic. In my opinion, today, they have a lot better than this. But still, if you understand what TF-IDF is all about, well, for example, why does automated translation? I'm sure you've tried for 20 years. It doesn't rank so well. It doesn't rank so well. Why? Because translation by a robot very often will pop up a lot more of those relevant, rare words. And that's how you get flagged. too many rare words, and it can just be like a couple, and that's it.
So it can be a spam signal if you actually use, let's say, automated generated content via Google Translator. It definitely makes sense because essentially, from what I understand, Google Translator uses a machine learning model to do that, to translate content. And it's just maybe too much optimized for organic search, so it flags the content from appearing. That's interesting.
You mentioned my strategy, Topical Mesh. That's my translation. You will find a lot more info if you search for semantic cocoon, because cocoon semantic is the, it doesn't mean anything in English, semantic cocoon. So the thing is, what in France, we have tools that can't even imagine. We are, I mean, it's just crazy how far we went. Some of them will enter the English market, but everybody is overusing them. They're on overdrive. And if you simplify SEO, you have the page and links. Okay. You have a lot. Yeah, sure. Clicks, all those things. But page and links, those are your main weapons, let's say. The page, if you go on overdrive, you're done. Chill. Everybody's over optimizing. Everybody thinks of SEO from a mile away, from 10,000 miles away. So,
so the issue right now, the issue is not actually to optimize the page, but in the day, maybe we had to really put all variations of the keyword we wanted to rank for as much as we can. But nowadays, I mean, with regards to optimizing for keyword matching, sometimes the less we do may be the better option.
Especially if you play, okay, here's the game of the mystery word. I have to make you guess. If before I came out with this idea, it was keyword density. You have, let's say, okay, Jaguar, the car, the English car. I'm going to put 18% density of Jaguar into, and we were very creative to put the keyword in many places in the source code. But if I have to make you guess Jaguar, the car, without saying Jaguar, the car, because if I repeat Jaguar, which one am I talking about? The animal, the car, the US football? By the way, it's not soccer, okay? Football is European. Call it whatever you want. US football. Yeah, so let's you have many games on TV like this. The mystery word. Say, okay, the mystery word is an English luxury car, which legendary model is XJ, and it has a, I can't call it. Missing the word, but whatever. He has like a felon, an animal on the hood, and so on. After a little while, if I'm good at it, you will be able to guess. Oh, Jaguar the car. If you play the game of the mystery word in the 3, 4, 5 first sentences of your content, and then, pro tip for you, Google only cares about the like 5 or 6 or 700 first word. If you don't get it right by 500 words, that SEO myth of 2,000 words is total BS. You have to be very good explaining what your page is all about at the beginning. And if you play the game of the mystery word, naturally you will answer all those questions about lexical field. If there's a usual density, maybe lexical density and so on. Don't believe in, well, first of all, trust no one. Don't trust us. Test for yourself. Test for yourself. Always test. Did you try, for example, white text on a white page? it's supposed to be as black hat SEO. It's supposed to be evil. I don't know. Last time I tried was blue text on the blue page. It worked. um, the the thing is, on the page, we'll talk about the other factors, but on the page, I really think that people are way too heavy, um, and there is something a little bit mystical, paranormal about SEO. Is when you obsess too much about the keyword, Google is not going to give it to you, and
Yeah,
then
exactly.
you back off, and
Exactly. I've been noticing this since the last couple of years. The more optimized the page is for a particular keyword, I've seen a lot of cases of some sort of a spam demotion affecting the pages just because they're just too optimized. And I did experiment maybe like so an update happened in November 2019. A couple of months after the update, I added some keywords on a page, an existing page. All of the keyword rankings dropped for that exact queries that are optimized for. And I didn't made any changes whatsoever to the links, internal links, and it happened fast. It happened quickly, so it just gave me a reason to not to over optimize the content in terms of the keyword matching. Because right now with the birds, with the hummingbird, with let's say natural language processing system that they have, if you provide enough context via topics that are being discussed in the article and via the context the content is providing, I think you should be able to rank just by the title tag and the anchor text data.
here's why it's a little bit difficult. Not so complicated, but ranking factors. Okay, we can put a score, say links count more than, I don't know, HN, okay, subtitles. But the thing is, when you have all this arsenal, all those tools, all those weapons to push your content up, the index is not flat as term as how they apply filters. Okay, you have the core algorithm, and then you have those algorithmic filters, and pretty much every query today has different cursors, different filters. In other words, if you optimize like a pig for bed and breakfast in buttfuck Arizona, okay, you will rank even without backlinks, okay, and with a very spammy page. Same technique on payday loans or online poker, and you're not even gonna rank, okay? You will stay like beyond the top 100. So that's the only thing is about how to leverage, how to feasibility, how to adapt, meaning you have to understand, it fluctuates. So don't go thermonuclear if it's just going to work with a slap, okay? And if you apply too much force, it's just physics. It will come back to you, and you won't be able to have any results, especially on the page. Chill. Don't go nuclear when you should run a marathon and not a sprint. And the index is not flat. You need to adjust the level of force according to what I call the smell of the SERP. Level SEO skill, in my opinion, is if you're able to smell the SERP. You look, close everything, and just Google it's telling you everything, what it has, what it wants, and just stare enter the query and just ask one question. Why those tabs? Why is this tab first? Why are there no videos? Why is it only product pages? Why is okay, what's the intent? Just why?
Yeah.
Stare at that SERP and they will talk to you after a while.
Yeah, the SERP analysis is like checking the Google search results to figure out what type of content is working. Like, for example, if you search for the word Jaguar and the animal is showing up, the animal variation of Jaguar, it means that Google's both natural language processing systems or click systems, engagement signals, are preferring the animal's variation. So you cannot outrank your site. If you're the car company Jaguar, if you want to rank for Jaguar, it may not be doable. It may not be doable just because you're not matching the semantic. So I want to get into the page rank. So the second, I mean, we don't have the order list, but let's say one of the most important factors, along with click data, is anchor system, which is about links, the context of those links, meaning the relevance of those links via surrounding text of the link and the anchor text. So you have a lot of, let's say, black hat experiences with that. We want to actually, some of these folks who are watching this are big brands. They cannot do like black hats and go to meetings and talk about, all the black hat work that they've been doing. So if you were, let's say, you optimize the semantic of the page by analyzing the user intent, by analyzing the SERP, by matching the title tag with the query and with the phrase. It's time for link building now. What type of links that do work? Because over the years, I've been seeing it, and I've been seeing it more and more and more. Not all links do have the ability to push the needle. I've tested a lot of ways that Google's PageRank system has modified in a lot of ways. They're ignoring a lot of links. And most of the links out there on the web are ignored. But a small percentage of links are passing link value. And I do have my own theories why, but you actually talked about this to me one time, that anytime a website is identified to sell links, they will block the credit of the link passing. So all of those gas posting sites, Expos, which have sold links at a larger scale, which they have an abnormal amount of outbound links, may not work. As you mentioned this to me, they're actually blocking the PageRank flow from flowing to the money site. So it's essentially a little bit useless to go out there and buy 500 gas posts on cheap gas posting sites, or build automated links, which I haven't seen those work in 10 years, to be honest with you. So what can companies do to build links? Because links and click systems, which good clicks, engagement, are the most important ranking factors. We want to actually let people know the black hat way to go about getting the best quality links and the white hat way.
There's a lot to unpack, bro. Where do we start? Let's start at the beginning. You started with anchor text. The importance of anchor text is massive. The starting point is, how is Google built? At the beginning, it was, okay, you have the URL server, and the URL server is fetching the crawler, Googlebot, okay? And then it gets into a storing server that then compresses everything and puts it in a repository, and then it goes into indexing. And it's going into different areas, and one of them is anchor text. So significant. The importance of it, basically, yeah, sure, links, but in the system, in the way the pipelines, is anchor text, and then URL, and then links, and then PageRank. But first, anchor text. So massively important. And like you said, what comes before and after the link, play the mystery word, but what's on the link, so powerful. I remember auditing a e-commerce website. 50% of the keywords were coming from the homepage because the homepage had massive page rank, and just the anchor text on the links was enough for the homepage to rank, because the rest of the site was very weak. So yeah, anchor text, so important. And then you say links are the most important. You are in the game of the user signal. I think you win today. I don't think PageRank is gone. I don't think it is gone because it's just so fundamental. It's an old machine, Google. It's from the 90s. And they to get rid of the whole system and start over, that would be that would there's a saying at Google, which is basically, yeah, you could have the most wonderful technology in the lab. If it's going to break what we have, we're not going to use it. So they can push down the quote unquote power of PageRank and give more value to the vote of trust from the user. But as far as I know, links work.
They do work. They do work.
Backlinks work. So now you asked the question. And by the way, the story about website that are flagged, again, not all weak link sellers are flagged, but all the link sellers that are flagged don't pass PageRank. 100%. Tested it. Why? Because a Googler told me. One from Lublin. Before I left Google, he didn't give a shit anymore. And he was, we used to get them drunk. We used to get them drunk, and this one nice guy. He was just fed up with the whole, like, he's more like a privacy oriented guy, and you got to respect the data. And
I got a question about this Googler. Is he a close friend of yours?
No.
And did he mention anything about nav boost or click signals, interaction data, engagement data?
I have that from another Googler, not from that one.
Okay.
That's why I mentioned click model, because that's what they called it in the algorithm. I think the term nav boost is from the API. The Google leak is not the algorithm. So they call out click model. Nav boost is calling out through the API click model. But the proper term
there is
in the algorithm is click model. But
yeah,
100%, it's it exists.
Yeah, it definitely exists here.
They've been bullshitting us. Maybe you want to keep that for when it.
So yeah.
So yeah. I mean, anchor text, PageRank. In PageRank, I trust in whatever magic potion from SEO Drids, DR, DA. There's no, show me the scientific papers. I want to see why is the patent, okay? Show me the patent of this DR score. What is it all about? How is it built?
Likelihood of website ranking on Google search by one SEO software.
We crawled 5 million URLs and we found the 7 secrets of SEO. That's basically
driven by machine learning, driven by secret machine learning. You should trust us, bro. Trust us, bro. We're doing
this is how it's done, guys. It's very simple. When you start to investigate, nerds like us, we dig into something and we might never find anything. Come out empty. That's how you investigate. If, for example, okay, I want to investigate the aliens. but I'm convinced. I believe aliens exist. Don't you think I'm going to be biased towards whatever I see is going to fit my story? So that's what they do. All those studies, all those scores, all those, and it's so sad because sometimes it's down to they didn't read the end of the sentence. I told you a story about LSI, LSA, and I even showed you a website where you can use LSA. Who is an SEO who actually tested those latent semantic analysis and latent semantic indexing? And yeah, it's used by Google AdSense, not Google search. They didn't read the end of the sentence.
So I need to ask you this. So let's talk about PageRank. So PageRank was the original algorithm that Google was using in order to organize the quality of the search results. And they've done that by looking at essentially coming up with a score for every single page on the web based on a link graph. Essentially, it was not about the number of links pointing to a page, but it was more about, creating a link graph. If someone links your content, how many other people have been linking to that content from a tier 2 or tier 3 perspective? My understanding was they retired the algorithm, which was called PageRank, was also working on the PageRank principle, which was we had a dampening factor. You divide the link, using divide the value of a link based on the number of links on a page. Essentially, the more links you have on a page, you're essentially dividing the value. But at some point, they've introduced the idea of reasonable surfer, which was, what's the likelihood of these links getting clicked on? And that changed everything. And I believe, based on a ex-Googler a statement, Google has replaced the PageRank algorithm in 2006. They still call it PageRank. They still refer to it as a PageRank. And according to him, because the PageRank this new algorithm, it has a similar name to PageRank. And in the leaked data,
wait, because there's a lot. Hold there. There's too much. Slow down. You spoke about the earlier search engine, but why was Google so quickly became the number one? Before, this is how it worked. They crawled the head, the meta, okay? Meta keywords, meta definition. That's the only part of the page that they crawled, all the search engine. Then Google came in with this idea of, okay, if someone else votes for you, like in real life, if a famous person is famous, it's because that person is on TV, in the papers, and being talked about. If you're an actor or actress and nobody talks about you, well, tough luck, you're not famous. And of course, being on the morning show on TV is a lot more valuable than being in a local newspaper. So how do we sort this out? There's a notion of volume. You need a lot of media to talk about you, and notion of quality. But always remember the law of parsimony, Occam's razor. When faced with different conflicting point of view for the same phenomenon, the simplest is likely the correct one. And again, people did read the end of the sentence. I know a former Googler said, they don't use PageRank anymore. Sure. Maybe that guy, just one guy, okay? 2006, I forgot it's 2006 or a couple of years later, but that's when Amit Singhal redesigned the PageRank. It was
exactly.
That's when he redesigned it. But they still called it PageRank. Maybe they have a nickname for it. They even came out with a pigeon rank for April Fools. But there is a second PageRank at the basic, that the core of my strategy is the topical PageRank. And this one is a big mystery. Why? Because Matt Cutts talked about it. We got papers, but Google never officially stated that they use the topical range. But again, the simplest application explanation is always the most likely one. It's been tested, not by just me, but by hundreds of people way smarter than me. And again, I've I've been involved with building a search engine, okay? And it makes more sense to use the topical PageRank because the classical PageRank, the normal, which is more about volume, was displayed in the Google toolbar, and guess who abused it? SEOs. That was simple to trick. We with Xrummer, a Russian tool, we could do 2,500 links a minute. Spam comments, forum profiles, forum signatures, forum threads, 2,500 backlinks a minute. It was crazy. So they were like, okay, it was a cool concept. Those dudes with the black hats, they fucked it up. So what do we do? Well, hey, I got an idea. There's those guys from Yahoo who wrote that paper about the topic sensitive PageRank. Let's take it. And this is more about who is in relation to what and why. Okay, now we are moving up to one level, very advanced SEO. Let's say you have a site about you're selling cars, okay? Selling Jaguars and Porsches, of course. You need a Porsche. It would sound like a good idea to have a link from this other website that sells, I don't know, motorcycles, right? But according to the topical PageRank, that website about motorcycles has a smell of gambling. It's a smell, a footprint, a pattern that is carried on. So yeah, at the beginning, there's context. Okay, what's around the link? But the smell gets passed on from link to link, regardless of the content on the page. If you use Majestic's data, the citation flow is the formula of the PageRank. If you use the topical trust flow, it's the formula of the topical PageRank. The exact formula. Is it exactly what does Google have today? Most likely not. But if you are not right according to Majestic, I promise you, it's not going to get better with Google.
I got a question, Laurent. So in the leaked data, we've seen an attribute called PageRank nearest seeds. So in the SEO world, SEOs thought about it being essentially a series of, let's say, manually trusted sites to start the seed process for the link graph. So essentially, they're like manually selecting website. But to be honest, a lot of the leaked data was names which are shortened, gibberish names. So it's really hard to make sense of it. NS could mean a lot of things. The PageRank NS, which may be the refined version of PageRank that Google talked about. We heck don't know. Anyone pretending that knows what's going on is a bullshitter, and we have to get through it. But something you mentioned about the topical PageRank. So in the link file, it's talking about surrounding text of the link. Context is actually mentioned. Context right to the link, context left to the link. In the iGaming world, it's actually very common practice to actually, whenever you're actually doing tiered link building, optimize the anchor text of those tiered links for the keywords you want to rank for. And they're doing it across a large scale of websites. And what do you think about PageRank and nearest seats? Do you think there's a white list of sites allowed to be computed in the PageRank process, like Majestic's trust flow?
How do you trust someone? Great question. How do you trust someone? And especially for robot, for Google, how can you? It's pretty sketchy for humans, authors. They've been struggling with that. How do you identify an author, and how do you identify the page rank of that author, or the person rank of that author? But for web pages, it's a lot simpler. And the whitelist, the rumor started, 20 years ago. 20 years ago, it started. And it's getting confused with the topical PageRank. So let's start with the topical PageRank. It's okay. It's online. You can research it. How did they start training to know who is in relation to what and why? A directory called DMOZ, Open Directory. It was a tab in Google search. There was a tab, directory, and it was you could. I abused that directory because you could download it. It was legit. You didn't need to take it by any means necessary. So Google was using this directory. You have the first 16 categories, and then you go deeper, and you see the semantic shift. Okay, from level to level. It's just a simple directory, and then machine learning can process and keep on building the semantic shift, the branch, okay, the silo, the cluster. But again, it's very simple. It doesn't need to be very sophisticated to make sense. And correlation, sure, doesn't mean causation, but if you have enough correlation, maybe you're on the right track. So to be able to understand that for Google to have this tab where people would click, and then they would have the structure of who is in relation to what, and then they would have how people use them, and then this directory was the best directory in the world because it was manually edited. It was very hard to get into. So they already had a base of the quote unquote best websites. And then again, from my best friend who built a search engine, is like, dude, the web, 100,000 websites, period. That's all you need to provide Pareto principle, the 20% that fulfills 80% of the needs, 100,000 websites. So if you were Google, you wouldn't tag manually 100,000 websites to say this is the cream of the cream. And then, for example, New York Times, okay, top level, flagged. I give you a bonus point. You are level 0 authority. And then you go down, and -3. You have a link from a link that has a link from New York Times, and it triggers down. Very simple. If you always go down to the Occam's, right, the law of parsimony, and try to understand what makes sense, and you test out, and you talk to enough people who are smarter than you, and they're like, yeah, sure. And at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if Google uses LSI or LSA, for example. If it works for you, those LSI keywords, who cares? All I know is to have. I'm struggling to get link builders from the other side of the pond that work on Majestic's metrics. They have never heard of the topical trust flow. And serve me well. You ask what's the best. I'm a big fan of private links network. I didn't say PBN. PBN, they smell like SEO. Private links network is the hipsters version of PBN. It's for the you. PBN is like an Opel Corsa, and private links network is a Porsche GT2 RS.
So I got a question about this private block networks. So these are essentially you're buying expired domains, repurposing them for SEO?
The latest I've done, I mean, the latest in production is actually a brand new domain. Well, you got to do what you do is you build because the branding was not we couldn't find a cool expired, so we say doesn't matter. Yeah. You start new, and then you buy an expired domain and redirect it through one. Okay.
Wow. So I got a question here. With expired domains, let's say these are more for, let's say, clients that want to experiment with them, but let's say enterprise clients, they cannot mention private block networks in their board meetings. So let's say if you want to experiment with PBNs in a survey way, can tier twoing them will be a good approach?
Link the link. You let's say you get a link. You've done a digital RP, okay? You get a link from the New York Times. You didn't buy it, or you bought it. I don't care. And do you really think in 6 months from now there will be somehow some kind of internal link from the New York Times to that page that links?
Yeah.
No. So yeah, link the link is I've lived by this. It's been lost, the art of link building, the real like digging since no follow rail kind of killed the game a little bit, but you still have to. And that's also why a private links network is great, because you're in control. Even in the worst case scenario, you get a manual penalty. If you do you private links network, I guarantee algorithmic penalty is out of the question. Never happened, never will happen if you know what you're doing. But why not a manual penalty? Well, you can remove the links. No, these are foul. That's bullshit. You remove the links and say, sorry, Google, I hired an SEO, and I called him. He say he fixed it. Please.
You know, the great thing about these private block networks is God. You can optimize for reasonable surfer. You can play around with the context of the link, the font size of the link, like essentially optimize for the, let's say, Google's newer generation systems. There's a downside to that though. There's a big downside. Managing them without automation is headache, difficult. When I was doing these private block networks, at one time I had 900 websites. I was getting some cheap domains. That's a lot of PBNs. And one day they were all hosted on one server, but I had a technique for cloaking the IP address and DNSs. And one day I just woke up and I see all the sites got hacked. It was chaos. It was chaos. And that was the moment that I knew, like, God, it's a headache to manage these sites. I think with AI and automation and tools that we have now, it's a lot easier, a lot more doable. I think if someone wants to choose this path, bring on automation as early as possible.
What I advise is HTML, okay? You won't get hacked. You don't need a CMS to build those sites. And today you have amazing tools, AI tools that last I tested was Sparkle. It's amazing. You say, okay, what's your name? What's your business? And it builds a website. HTML. Perfect. Sparkle. But even if you do it with like Mobilize or you go Webflow, if you have a little money, even there's a Google tool that helps you build HTML websites. But the thing is, if you're not, no, of course, no, you want a database, and you definitely don't want to use WordPress. By definition, if you use WordPress for your PBN or for whatever, it will get hacked, 100%.
There's a downside to WordPress. It takes a lot of CPU and resources.
It's the most used content management system on the web. So of course, hackers, and those are bots. Those are not like humans. They crawl the web and they look for flaws. Usually not in the core of WordPress. It's more the plugins. But anyhow, HTML is my way, and the websites are done by hand with love. They look like real websites. They sometimes even look better than the website you get backlinks from. Expired domains. It was a lot easier to buy them before they were cheaper, a lot more available, but you still have a tons out there. It's no problem. But then I really believe that if you get into the art of link building, if you master the craft of link building, you're the king, especially if you're listening to us from the US. The UK, they still have a little bit of link building mindset, but the US, for the past 10 years, backlinks is not in the vocabulary in the US. They do digital RP, sure. But again, I don't care if you have a link from the New York Times. In 6 months, in 3 days, you won't have any internal links from the New York Times anyway. They produce so much content. Usually when I audit this kind of websites, 80% of the content is not indexed.
Awesome, Laurent. So let's talk about the nav boost. So nav boost apparently is the most one of the strongest Google ranking signals in addition to links. So nav boost uses data based on the DOJ documents. It uses data from the last 13 months. It looks at the search results, collects the interaction data, and use that historically. And they collect short clicks, long clicks. By short clicks and long clicks is the duration of a visit. So if people are actually bouncing back quickly to the search results, that's a sign that the page was not helpful. Or if it's a long click, people have stuck around on the site for a long time and they haven't bounced back to the search results. And with regards to, so I have some things to add with regards to nav, because I probably know the system better than anyone else in the world from outside of Google, obviously. So to talk about nav boost, it uses historical data, not let's say there is a element to nav boost, which is instant nav boost. Data is collected every 10 minutes. So that's mostly useful for, let's say, viral content, Google News, and have you seen those search results? All of a sudden news pops up, it ranks number 1 and drops after 24 hours. That's the instant nav boost. So, but the results wouldn't stick around unless the pattern continues, meaning people are still clicking on it on a long time for many months to come, and also the content gets a lot of links. So in order to, let's say, have great rankings in the long term, you need to actually optimize for the nav boost itself, not the instant nav boost element, which you pop up quickly, then after 48 hours, 24 hours, you're back to the original level. Based on the Google leak data, there is a feature called Instant Chrome, which is similar to nav boost, but they're actually tracking the Chrome visits to a particular URL for highlighting trending pages on the web. And with regards to nav boost, we gotta take in order to optimize for it, the best way is actually to take care of your title tags and make them clicky, not clickbaity, in order to make sure you're matching the user intent on the title tag. You're giving what the user wants. You're matching the expectation, even exceeding the expectation. Then there is a UX element of the nav boost. Google doesn't use CTR for nav boost. They're using short clicks and long clicks. So I got some things to say. So it's not really the content that you're providing, it's the user's perception. Even how you lay out the pages could affect that. The UX, the font size, and the images, the videos, all of that will make the user perception to be different. So there are some low-hanging fruits that you can do. I've experimented with the headlines. Headlines are a great way. Using catchy words, using words that people love in your headlines are really one of the ways to actually make people to stick around. And one interesting thing is those who have been impacted by helpful content updates. So I do operate currently a non-profit organization, non-profit company called Navmetrica. We use clickstream data to optimize for this. It's free to sign up. You don't need to pay right now. And the thing we've actually noticed in a correlation study, which is like correlation is not causation. We run correlation studies and it is biased. So take it with a grain of salt. I want to be honest with you guys. I want to be honest. That's my goal here. One of the metrics that we've seen correlate so well with the, let's say, the helpful content update was the bounce rate. I'm not saying bounce rate is what actually Google uses, but we've actually seen a correlation with drops in helpful content update and bounce rate being too high. And I think there is an element to that helpful content. I think they call it the baby panda API on Google internally. And so like user engagement matters. On top of links, you need to, people try to manipulate it, Laurent.
Where should we start? I show you the other day, 2009, I did a keynote and I called it the person rank. So publicly, I talked about it in 2009, meaning I was a believer before and I've tested before. The person rank is basically, again, okay, SEOs wasted PageRank. They had the topical PageRank to kind of, and if it was gone, why would they still use so much electricity and so much resources to crawl links? And okay, it costs a lot of money to crawl, and to calculate PageRank is the most expensive algorithm in Google system. So yeah, PageRank is not gone, but you said one of the most impactful ranking factor. In my opinion, it's the most impactful. It's so violent. People who talk about it buy traffic. If I would advise you to build your own click farm, everybody is doing it. So, but that's a discussion for another day. But then you can buy traffic. It's so violent in a good way or bad way. Why? Because that traffic is not very qualified. It's from pop-up under and all that stuff, from streaming websites and all that crap. But if you do it on on a median, okay, on an average, median and average are different from a statistical point of view, but let's keep it simple. If you do it enough and you look at the average, 100%, it works very well. Again, it's so violent that sometimes it will drop you because Google is like, no, this is not legit. And
yeah, the thing about, I gotta say something here. I know people who actually manipulated Navboost even from years ago. Do you know about these TV receivers that are used with TVs? Like they are connected to the, let's say, satellite dish. One of these companies actually uses receivers to connect to the Wi-Fi residential IP of the home, and they had a headless browser implemented essentially in the receiver, essentially a small computer. From what I've heard, I don't know if this story is true. I've heard they've gone to jail because of that, because they used this particular network for ads click fraud. And this particular browser was actually sending traffic to pages on Google search results, and they actually manipulated this interaction data even years ago. I think, if someone figures out a way to actually manipulate, I mean, people are already manipulating it anyway, so they have already figured things out. It's minority of people who are doing it successfully. One thing that actually came to my mind was, let's talk about, this Chrome total visits. You're apparently using Chrome total visits to figure out the sites. If it's Amazon, Reddit, a big gigantic brand, and not link profile entirely at site level. What are we up to? Like, even 1 year ago, Google was denying they use Chrome data or click data. They lied to the webmaster community for 20 years, for 15 years, or 10 years. And I think we need to give an answer to them. I really think, listen, I forgive John Miller. He's a bald dude with glasses. I like the guy a lot. In terms of, his, yeah.
The thing is, John, how did he get hired? He was a platinum level member on the Google Webmaster Forum. Matt Cutts, employee number 87 at Google. Okay, he was not good enough for Google AdWords back then, so he moved on to search, and he was Google guy, and then he became officially the spokesman. Okay, so John arrives. They didn't help him out, and he's in Zurich, Switzerland. He's not in Mountain View. Do you think he had like engineers on speed dial? No.
He confirmed Navus with me. He didn't mention the name of the algorithm. Yeah.
He got respect from us and from Google. So little by little, he started to get more information. So did he get some things wrong? Of course, because even if he thought the information was legit, did the guy he talked to really knew what he was talking about? Because in those big companies, Alphabet Inc., Google is called Alphabet Inc., and the Chrome team, first of all, there's Google Ads and there's the rest, okay? Google Ads, do you think they speak at the guys from the search? It's a saying, okay? Like I said with my cuts, if you're not good enough for Google Ads, you're gonna go work for the search team. So you got Google Ads. Those are the top guys. Then you have all those YouTube. YouTube is massive, okay? It's a big property of Alphabet Inc. If you know how YouTube works, well, and you look at Google Discover, it's
Exactly. It's trending, it's engagement. That's
so what I'm thinking is, even if it's separated, those companies, those engineers from Google Search, they use YouTube, they use Google Chrome every single day. So, in my opinion, yeah, there are some crossovers from the different properties of Alphabet Inc., but it's definitely not a common practice because none of those big companies are very well integrated. But now, again, Occam's razor. Does it make sense? Is it the simplest explanation that's the correct one? If you own Google Chrome and you suck at analyzing documents and you're like, okay, we know how to analyze users' behavior. We have all those tools. We are a DNS provider. We have a browser. We have a search engine. Because before, when they started to say, yeah, we use, but it wasn't precise enough. We could do broad analysis, but it's not on the site level. I'm saying it's on the URL level. It's on the query level. It's on the, there's even trends. Okay. There's even, and they can even, when they have different filters on this query, on this URL, and then a couple of days, couple of weeks, couple of months later, that will change. But of course, and since the lawsuits and since the Google leaks, it's out there. They have big problems right now with those lawsuits. They are getting broken up. Google Chrome is going to be your company. YouTube is going to be your company. Google Search is going to be your company, and they have a big problem with Google Ads.
I got a question for you. So let's talk about AdWords traffic. So there has been this conspiracy for so many years. Once I launch a PPC campaign, a Google Ads campaign, or a YouTube Ads campaign, I see a boost in rankings. Do you believe in that?
Yeah, I don't believe the there's some dude at Google Ads who is overseeing campaigns, and when you turn off your campaign, he's gonna press a button on about, okay, let's derank this website. However, it's a huge signal. If 70% of your traffic is coming from Google Ads and this signal stops, but it doesn't matter if it comes from Google Ads, from a forum, from whatever, okay, Groupon, from wherever, from emailing, it doesn't matter, from X, it doesn't matter. If there is a strong loads of traffic that's coming from somewhere and it stops, it's not a good signal. And on the lower scale, when I say loads, if you can manage, let's let's put it this way, and it's up to you to translate, to read, to read behind the lines. If you can manage 300 clicks, quality quick clicks, meaning topical, okay? Any user has a profile. You could imagine hobbies and work. I do extreme sports, and I'm a digital marketer slash SEO. Okay, those might be my two main profiles. And as a user, if I go visit a website about cars, is there a semantic shift between downhill mountain biking, motocross, and cars? Maybe a little bit. But if I go visit a website about gardening, yeah, again, traffic is very violent and it works, so it doesn't work. But if you less is more, if you have quality traffic, and again, couple hundreds, my number is 300. If you get 300 quality clicks, amazing things will happen. For Discover, for example, but also for search. And like you said, you need to maintain it. It's not just the one time. That's the issue. It needs to be constant. It wasn't about Google search. It was about the address block. But I was in a keynote, and I was with my friend Paul, who is and we asked the audience, okay, everybody, open the smartphone and type restaurant. Name of the place was Villard de Lans, a ski resort. Okay, and everybody clicks on the before last result. By the end of the keynote, 40 minutes, it was number one. Then overnight, it drops. Again, it was not in the organic results. It was in the address block, the Google Maps. But still, I've done ton of experiments like that, and even if you back then, when I was cleaning out search results, oh man, it was a crazy time. I was doing it for a, how do you call it in English? Intelligence économique. Basically, an agency with clients, they would range from like James Bond type of profile to celebrities. And
Reputation management.
the agency, I was working for this agency, and that agency had crazy clients. I'm talking like James Bond and celebrities and whatever. And I remember it was one time every time I couldn't clean the result, it's because it was validated by humans.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
In the SERP, and you couldn't move them, whatever you did, because of human validation. I don't care what people say.
I do provide the service, reputation management, but yeah.
Because because you have this trust factor and who is in relation to what factor and about. So again, it's not difficult. It's just a lot more complicated. But since I started, since the ROI of SEO has only been going down. It doesn't mean that it's not the best channel. It's definitely the best. Why? Because of intent. If you search, you are more open to engagement than if I connect with you anywhere else. So SEO is so powerful, but yeah, you have to be excellent now. You have to. We knew basically, even if we didn't have confirmation, we felt it. We knew it. We talked to people. We didn't care if it was official or not, and we didn't care about the lies. We had proof on the screen. It worked, and not just for me, for my friends and the friends of my friends. So, that's also after Panda and Penguin, 2012. We started to shut our mouth. I think that's when the bullshit took over and the propaganda, because the good ones, why should I share what works with you? Especially since the whole Panda Penguin apocalypse happened, it shut down the public voice of people like us with our profile, and that's why now nobody, not one.
Something interesting you mentioned about reputation management and user signals um, affecting like boosting bad news about people. I had a client, a very rich individual, reached out to me via another agency which works with governments, like rich people and things like that. A media company. They reached out to me. We do have this very, very wealthy individual. Some sort of a tragic thing has happened in the person's personal life that impacted their Google search results. And if you search for the person's personal name, everything is just related to bad news about the personal thing that happened. We cleaned that up. We cleaned it up with not a link, with no links involved. And we run campaigns, some TikTok campaigns. I cannot share the details here. I would love to one day, but right now it's working. When it's no longer working, guys, I will be sharing it, how it was being a dog through TikTok. And we're like creating some aspects, some news about that individual that wasn't covered, and we're like making these ads on TikTok and like pushing people to actually go search for those terms. And within couple of weeks to months, we sorted out the search results by 90%. It took some time, but we essentially did it. But no links involved, because the links were not the reason these articles were like number one in the first place. It was because interaction data, user interactions. I wish about this click signals back in the day when you had this client. That's exactly the reason why I decided to pursue the Google leak, because I had a feeling, the uncertainty feeling, like it's not good. Whatever you're doing is not working, is not good. I wanted to actually, I don't know how to say it in the.
I can give people an example because I don't have an NDA on that one. Jacob the Drawer, Jacob Arabo. If you search for Jacob the Drawer, I see only one result that talks about this incident with the with the authorities. But that was pretty big, and that was 2007. Oh, see, I see also a video. This is why Jacob the Drawer went to jail. 2023, 12 months ago. So yeah, he's not. How old is this article?
So you're mentioning now, so good that he's in jail, because he cannot sue you from jail. Or if he's very rich, he can.
I wouldn't talk about something where I have an NDA, but you can it's enter the name of the guy and you see for yourself. What's the signal? Is it how much of his it's such you gotta learn about Jacob the Drawer. That's a crazy story, insane. So
Jacob the jeweler. That's interesting. But yeah, I gotta think talk about, so since we discussed that, like the top ranking factors so far: nav boost, links, Chrome data, brand mentions. There is a sense the Google leak Rand mentioned brand mentions are one of the most important factor. I don't think so. I think they're being used to build the knowledge graph, to build the database, to map the database of what is relation to what. Essentially, keywords versus topics. Search engine optimization is the topic, SEO is the keyword. And within SEO, we do have concepts which are connected to SEO, which is backlinks, off page, on page, technical SEO, whatever. I think when you have a lot of brand mentions in the same paragraph or in the same text that mention the industry you're active in, I think you're going to be more relevant. Your brand name will become an entity and will be slightly more relevant for the keywords you want to optimize for. But I don't think this is, let's say, a ranking signal used for quality purposes. But quality is essentially user engagement, which is clicks, and also links. I think that's a misconception that people have, that entities or brand mentions are the holy grail. I don't think so.
it's complicated because okay, Google bought out MetaWeb, which was I don't think it was a I think it was a non-profit, not sure, but anyways, organization MetaWeb, they started tagging entities, basically putting like a barcode, okay, unique ID. Jaguar the animal has a different ID than Jaguar the car, and but still, if you don't have any context, we go back to I can repeat the the name of that entity and it doesn't matter, and everything is entity because like I said earlier, Google transforms word into mathematical entities, and I guess in theory anything that exists is an entity, and some entities are born. COVID, okay, didn't exist before. So you have new stuff coming up. And how do you evaluate is this new stuff? The level of how famous are you on the internet basically is the page rank, okay, for everything, and especially the person rank. The Google Plus was all about authorship, was all about it was not a social network. It was about trying to put a page rank on people's face. Um, and yeah, the problem is it's not so easy. It's not because you have a knowledge graph. It's not because you wrote books. And even if you wrote books, well, what kind of books? So now you have the knowledge panel, which is very interesting. You don't have to. First of all, knowledge graph from Wikipedia. Wiki data is the key because Wikipedia uses Wikidata. Google uses Wikidata. You want to get in Wikidata. Having a Wikipedia page, it's not the hack. The hack is Wikidata. Get in there. And you need to write a book, and that book needs to be talked about, and it needs to be edited by a legit editor to get in there. But anyhow, it's tricky because everything and anything is an entity. You have name entity. Okay. We my I like what I see, and I like simple solutions. So the trick I'm giving to people is Google Trends. Enter the name of your website in Google Trends. If you're not in there, you're not relevant. You don't exist. Okay. If you're able to appear in Google Trends, and if you're good, then you're gonna have a nice like line going up. That's the effect of branding. But to make it simple, yeah, Google Trends. Here you go. You need also to you could use ngram viewer. Ngram, that's an interesting algorithm, because ngram is from a sequence of entities, you can guess the next one. AI also works like that. It's a token predictor. So ngram is one of the most fundamental algorithms when it comes to for a search engine to understand, to analyze, to interpret what it reads. But yeah, man, when I see YouTube, they don't care how big is the channel. They don't care how many views, all the videos. They sample, they test out, and retention and clicks. Like you said, title.
Let's see. Let's see. We're a small channel. I hope that's the case. I hope to get some views. But
Well, I told you,
I
I
think
told you, SEO is tracked. I saw SEO is shadow banned on YouTube because of certain kind of
Google
SEO from a certain
monopolists.
place, and well, it's enough. You'll make it. You'll see. You have enough, but you can't.
Let's sanction Google. Shadow banners.
Yeah, you can't become a YouTuber if you are an SEO. You can't become a professional YouTuber. Don't worry. You can become a professional podcaster for sure, but not YouTuber.
I don't think so. I'm just an SEO guy, just willing to talk, not anything serious. But let's talk about social signals. There is a myth that if you buy 5,000 social signals off of Black Hat World, you're gonna be number one immediately. I don't know. To be honest, I don't think so. I think it could help if they mention in the entity as a, I think instead of sharing the URL, they should actually talk about the brand in context. Do you think that's a good way?
I think you need to do some chemistry. Okay, you need to stir. You need to around the
Breaking Bad. Yeah.
you need to cook meth because around your topic, around your URL, you need to create an emotion. You need to there needs to be some activity, basically, where whatever you do, but just buying social signals or just buying traffic. No, it's a whole. And my today I advise I'm driving my clients, my students, towards building an experience within an ecosystem. What does that mean? Your page, it needs to be Disneyland, okay? You want to have the user stay on the page. Oh, he's frozen. He'll come back. You want to have the user have a wonderful experience. So going back to the CTR, you go to Wikipedia for a definition and you leave. You don't stay 20 minutes and visit 17 pages. Yeah, you were frozen, but I kept on talking. I was talking about the fact that it's very complicated. Wikipedia, you search for a term, definition, and you leave. 99% rebound rate, okay? But you're certified. You spend 20 minutes on a travel website, you visited 18 pages, but is the experience better? So it's not so cut and dry about what you need to do and what's the trigger. We talked about the pogo sticking and say, okay, if the user doesn't stay longer than 10 seconds and go back on the search result and picks another URL. In my opinion, it's a little bit overvalued by SEO, but it exists. There are scientific papers and maybe a patent about that. Pogo sticking. But now I really recommend so your page needs to stand out with content, multimedia content. Okay, not just a bunch of SEO text for Google. Real, Google wants perspectives. He told you. He created a tab. Okay, it's now called forums, perspectives. SEOs are complaining about Reddit showing up. Well, Reddit, whatever you think, Reddit gives perspectives, okay? People give perspectives. SEOs, it's tasteless, Google text to feed the machine. So if you're able to provide some value and make the user enjoy the experience on the page, personalized AI. Because right now I'm like, oh, I'm gonna put a quiz on my page. Yeah, okay, dude, that's just so weak. You like creativity? Yes, you need to have good visuals, videos, photos, text, multimedia. Why not augmented reality? Why not going anyway? Anything you can do to a good experience, and then within an ecosystem. Meaning, the goal today is if someone is interested in your topic and they open internet, not the web, not Google, the big thing, okay, the big network, internet. You need to be at the right place, at the right time, with the right message, in the right format, in front of the right person, and this always and forever. And it's not so with the technology we have today to basically where's the attention? Where are the eyes and the ears on a device called a smartphone? Um, yeah, I think with the actually, I held on my iPhone. That's a big problem for Google. Okay, Apple, Safari.
Oh,
Whatever happens on my Mac or on my iPhone, Google can't really see much of that. So that's a big issue for them. But they still have access to a lot of data, so it doesn't matter. But yeah. It's anybody, anything can become an entity, but are you worth it? That's another question. And if you answer that simple question, why are you relevant? Why do you deserve to be number one? Are you really making good shit? Is your stuff really so valuable? First of all, do you treat your properties on the internet, your website, your podcast, your YouTube channel, your Instagram, and so on? Do you treat them really? Do you pay attention? Like, I see so many businesses in real life. They pay attention to every single detail. The stores are clean, everything is neat, and the salesperson is perfect, and so on and so on. And I look at the stuff on the web, and I'm like, really? Are you taking yourself?
Laurent, I know some shortcuts to actually get a business or get a website to be an entity. One of them is actually, registering a GMB, Google My Business profile. It automatically shows up in Google Trends. Another one is a YouTube channel, which does that. Another one, getting featured on a lots of reviews websites, like, I don't know. You've seen probably some of those sites, that review different software. That's another one. Lots of brand mentions in the title tag will do as well. So let's assume like there's 200 articles about you. You can be an entity, or the oldest data source of the entities, which was Wikidata, the Wikipedia, essentially. Knowledge panel, exactly. Got another question. So we talked about lots of other stuff, a lot of good stuff. Let's talk about the most black hat ones that the black hat SEOs care about. So Google does have a lot of spam systems in place, and they're one of the reasons why websites often see their efforts not working like the way it used to. For example, in 2004 and 2003, the time when I was essentially 3 years old or 4 years old. I was little Erfan, baby Erfan. And probably, I started this year at a young age, but I was a little baby back then. I was not in this SEO world. I want to talk about spam system. So what are the factors you've seen that can trigger both on-page spam issues and off-page spam issues, so people can avoid them? So what are the common things you've seen that can trigger spam penalties?
It's interesting because there was a study, large scale study, like in the early 2000 that was done. And as the French, we did the only study, in my knowledge, that's the latest one. And it was a long time ago. And like I said before, the problem is what will work on the low-hanging fruit or keywords where you have, and that could change. For example, I remember swimming pool in French. Me and five friends got in there, okay, because the affiliate links paid very well for all the swimming pool related products, and it was a clean topic, and it became flagged like within like 6 to 12 months. It turned into a black hat type of query or topic. So where can I start? I think we need to have an entire specific discussion about that, because how to avoid spam detection really depends upon where you are sitting. And again, smell the SERP. Is your environment, does it smell like SEO? If it smells like SEO, it's not even about spam. It's about, like we said earlier, chill, okay? Don't be so aggressive, because you will have people outscoring you, and you're going to be calling us, and, hey, this site is number one. It has like only 5 backlinks. And I'm like, yeah, but first of all, it's an entity. And second of all, it doesn't smell like SEO like you do. So the all the spam techniques, negative SEO is can work on a temporary. All those blasts of ugly links, that doesn't work. Duplicate content, yeah. If you duplicate a website, so a lot of the spam, a lot of the big spammers today, they're hacking websites. They duplicate, they swallow websites, then translate them automatically. So and then you have basically what happened is Google killed black hat SEO with techniques of psychological warfare, better than with the algorithm. I mean, all the, again, test white text on the white page. Does it? It's the basics of spam. So the only thing that we had to improve was basically, no, I'm even not even. I was about to say the quality, quote unquote, of the content, because before it was really. I started off with Yahoo pipes and RSS feed, mixing RSS feed to create content. And like I said before, automatic translation was not working, was not ranking. Maybe it does today. I don't know. I haven't tested it in a while. Don't trust me. Test, okay? If you DeepL automatic translation works, well, you're onto something. Over 10 years ago, last time I tested, it wasn't working so well. So you can go back to the entire Black Hat SEO manual for Sunday brunch, and try out all the techniques, because some are gonna work if your keyword it doesn't risk like SEO, and you don't have a very elevated level of filters. Well, if you want to go play with the big boys, it's not even about ranking and getting outranked. Now, in the biggest good bad idea that I see is maybe indexing your internal search engines or automated type of pages, okay, those doorway pages, like we used to call them. This is basically the spam indexing is very the thing that I see the most that people do. Sounds like a great idea. Gonna create pages on the fly, and you can might work very well, so well that you're gonna push even more, and everything is gonna go down.
I do have a list of actually a quick list of demotions ready if you want to hear them. Location demotions. So based on the click data, there has been a lot of negative interactions in a particular location. Let's say this your site is relevant to UK users, but not in the entire world. You will be actually ranking only in UK. Even though you do have a .com domain, which is an international domain, and you did have the Google Search Console location settings set to, let's say, America. So location demotion, we're very confident about it. It's not a spam demotion. Exactly. Yeah, that's from. There is another one, keyword stuffing matching. So if you do have existing page, not optimized, all of a sudden you add keywords to it. And adding keywords was the only thing you did do. You didn't rephrase any of the sentences. You may get a demotion. You may get a demotion based on the nav data, how reputable the site is. The anchor spam. So anchor text spam is another. Anchor phrase spam. And it doesn't only take into account Laurent. The interesting thing is it doesn't like check the ratios like SEOs do. The 10% of anchor text needs to be like that. It's also taking the velocity of the link into account, which is very interesting. Another one is a spam brain. A spam brain uses machine learning. And my understanding is it uses feature learning to do that. So you have good features and bad features. If you do have features which are common with the spammy sites and less features associated with the good sites, then you will trigger a spam brain at host level, which is domain level. Another one I have, again, not related to a spam, are adult demotions, and which is, just your site will be differentiated than the rest of the web. A demotion, which is not a spam, but a scam demotion, which you've probably seen those, your phone has a virus, please call this number. And you call the number, like, hello, sir, how can I help you? My name is John from New York City. And a spam is scored for links as well, which we don't know a lot about. I could guess what they use. Maybe a combination of things together to generate a spam score. One thing that SEOs don't know in the past, though, I'm not sure if now they do it, they used, safe browsing feature API, which was implemented across all browsers. They use traffic data from that to understand cloaking of a scam, essentially, scamming pages. A lot of things, they have a lot of things for demoting content. But listen, a lot of people with small sites, they think they're shadow banned, but in reality, they don't have enough signals. They don't have the nav signals or click signals or link signals, and they think their site is spammy.
I'm not saying that if you have a lot of ads, you're gonna get, penalized or deranked. All I know is all the sites that I see that are blown away, they got tons of ads on the page. So yeah, it's so complicated because if you want to get real spam, it's so creative. And it's so simple. Hacked websites still rank very, very well. And let me check. Let me check right now.
Who did you hack, Laurent?
I'm on Louboutin pas cher, cheap Louboutin. I see the Open Interchange Consortium. from Australia, new economic models for digital economy of, and obviously the cloaking didn't work because that's a hacked website. Okay, it's number 3 on Chip Louboutin in the French version. So right now, okay, Chip Louboutin. I love that query. The hackers are all over the Rolex replica and Chip. Search Rolex replica Chip Louboutin, and look,
All of them are hack sites.
it's insane.
Jesus, that's
Right now in England, in English, I see it pretty. I mean, I see spammy website, but I don't see hacked website. In the French version, Louboutin pas cher, yeah, hack website. Hack website is number 3. But on English, I see a lot of EMD, exact match domains. They seem to rank very well. I see people are using Reddit to rank also.
the famous Reddit buzz that unfortunate.
Look, exact match domain. It's a very good example. I love that because not a good idea. Yeah, I like brands. I don't like keyword-keyword-keyword.com. But do they work? Yes. Why don't they work? Because you are acting like an elephant in a porcelain store, basically. You're already super optimized. Okay, the keyword is in the domain name. Relax. Relax, because you're already like, wow, 8.5 out of 10 on the SEO scale. But if you do it well, yeah, exact match domains is a spammy technique that very simple and works very well if done right. Exact match domain. Don't need to look in anything more advanced than that. Cloaking, if you're a good cloaker, if you know what you're doing, I love cloaking. It's my it's so simple and so powerful, and everybody's afraid of it. Even if you want to do it for legitimate reasons. I mean, in my strategy, you need to provide internal linking for the bot, and that internal linking might not agree with the marketing goals you have. So, like, okay, cloaking. Here's a version for the bot. Here's a version for human, and that's 100% white hat. Can't get penalized for that. Otherwise, your mobile version is a black hat. Okay, because you don't have the same structure on your mobile version of your website than on the desktop version. I can talk about so many things, but the horror stories I see the most is people. Okay, here's the number one. You want to destroy your website? Mess up redirects. Okay, website migration. You don't map out well the redirects. Instantly, you're gonna get you get a negative SEO yourself with bad. Yeah, I advise learn to do evil to do good. You need to know where is the fine line, because why do you need to put so much ads on your page? Okay, why do you need to put that notification thing? All I know is a lot of those websites that I see that are banged out by Google, they have this allow notifications from the website. Does that mean that all websites that have that will get penalized? No. My observation is so yeah, once again, depends where you got to smell the SERP. You got to know how to. No, it's not jujitsu. It's aikido, right? Apply the right amount of force.
That's Aikido, yeah. Yeah.
Aikido SEO. That's why you have to play. That's the game.
Well, I mean, Aikido is not proven to be the most effective martial arts. Muay Thai, Judo, Jiu-Jitsu.
You don't need to go like nuclear, okay? With a slap, it can work. And basically, uh, yes, you remember, like the big deal was that, and who is talking? Who is that person? Who is Elizabeth Tucker? Okay, who published on the Google blog saying now low quality content is considered spam. She's a product manager. She's no engineer. She's a product manager. She's telling you that, yeah, we've cleaned up I forgot like 25% of the web. What are you talking about? Really? Chip Louboutin? No, I don't think you cleaned it up. So yeah, product manager is not legit in my book. That's just propaganda. And when they say quality content is now considered spam, what is quality, madam?
It's Reddit. It's Reddit.
What is quality?
It's Reddit, just Reddit and Forbes nowadays on the search results. Laurent, it was great talking to you today, brother, and I hope to meet you next time. And next time, we got to talk about the topical mesh and how we can be. I find it extremely useful for e-commerce businesses. Extremely useful.
We're gonna break down every single topic. Your list is humongous. We did the best stuff today, but there's just appetizers. So yeah,
it just we gotta talk more about this topical mesh. I mean, God, there's so much topics to discuss. It was pleasure having this podcast with you. I'm glad the event was direct, honest, transparent. We talked about the black hat stuff too, the good stuff. Don't try it home, guys. Please, do it responsibly. But acknowledge this power. Looking forward to meeting you next time, Laurent. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Take care of yourself. Bye.
Bye.